In today's episode, we have YouTube strategist and editor since 2017, and now he's documenting his journey on Substack and YouTube, and has a YouTube channel with more than 20K subscribers. Welcome to the podcast, Facu. Okay.
Okay, thank you for having me. Such a good introduction. Thank you so much.
Yeah, okay. And in your recent video, you talk about what is the Danko paradox and how would you describe it to people?
Yeah, the Danko paradox is funny. When I started thinking about Danko's editing, because that was the main point of the video to talk about it, I realized, wait, the editing is really simple, really kind of not sensationalist in some point, kind of minimalistic, right? So kind of the opposite of what we see on YouTube most of the times, or at least a few years before, because Mr. Beast, like Imangazzi, we have lots of different types of creators that over edited their videos to gain attention, right? Dan is kind of the opposite. But the paradox is, yeah, so since Dan's editing is so minimalistic, when other people started copying it, it didn't work by some reason. It's so minimalistic, it's easy to copy, but it didn't work. Even though it's so simple, it's just letters on the screen, maybe a chunk up, that's it. So I started thinking about why, and I end up to the conclusion that the editing is an extension of his brand, and his brand is really connected to him. It's really, everything is alienated. So basically, if you want to copy his editing, you have to be him or really close to the aura or the things he evokes in the video, like his presence, his voice, maybe the things he talks about, right? So everything, and also kind of live a minimalistic life, maybe be a part of your identity. And when you don't have that, that's when you start to say, oh, he's a Danko copycat, right? Instead of, oh, he's being himself in some kind of way. Like instead of being your own, you're trying to copy someone else, and you start to notice that. That's kind of the Danko paradox.
Yeah. And it's pretty interesting when, as you said, it is so simple, but almost nobody is trying to copy it, or there are no editors in Danko style. But even before, when you watch some of the old Danko videos, that it wasn't like that. Like he was experimenting a lot and finding his brand and what he stands for and what are his kind of things and what works especially, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that is something I want to talk about more, because most of creators doesn't go through that path. Instead, they just copy another editing style or another YouTuber, and they don't really find themselves. And that's a process I've been through. Dan has been through that too, and a lot of creators that nowadays we can name, like in the business space. Alex Omosi, it's insane. There's a recent video where he reacted to other videos of him. So that's so funny to see the difference. And Imangazzi too, he didn't start like the famous Imangazzi style that blew up everywhere. He started just recording to, and that's it, kind of blogging almost, talking to a camera. So even though the technology and the knowledge has been developed a lot in these areas, I believe you still have to look for that kind of process, and go for it, to kind of look for what do you identify with, and start choosing, start experimenting. Maybe instead of straight up copying someone else, maybe you say, oh, all right, these are 5 YouTubers that I like, these are 5 content creators that I like. What do I really like about them. I'm gonna pick this element from here, this element from here, and that really helps. I believe that's how I ended up kind of developing my style. You see, if you saw the video, the Danko Paradox, it's really simple editing. It's kind of, I want to keep things simple and not to be that much. I don't want to be how would I say this? I don't want to look professional exactly, like overly edited, straight up professional. I want to be simple and less professional, or the video to have less quality on purpose. That's what but still the video is clean, maybe it has great pacing, maybe it has great flow, and I want to keep it that way. If I overcomplicate it, maybe I start feeling like strange. That's it. Yeah, and maybe add some memes on the video. Yeah, because that's who I am.
Yeah, I get it. And especially, I think I saw the video, or I saw some version of it with Alex Hormozy, like, this was my first video and this was my first ad, and like, you need to be cringe to improve. And kinda, because he defined cringe as kinda caring. And then like other thought you had was this kind of yeah, you were like making it feel like more like it's less effort or more minimalistic on purpose, like you don't really care, but it goes a lot of thought into it. And I saw something like similar to this, because some content creators were talking about all of these styles of content, and that even though it may seem that some creators just pick up the camera, talk, like just say some words, and they have like 100 million views out of from it, and that is everything is very intentional, especially when it comes to those forums and everything like that. Or even the creator may not even realize it, but they have these habits that they like acquired and kind of do. But for you to have those habits, like, you need to do that stuff and kind of find your own style, because even when you copy exactly what they did, that it will be not the same video, or it will not hit the same for many people.
Yeah, you find that through repetition. That's it. I believe that is something to talk about too, like reps. And right now I am feeling this too. I uploaded only one video to my channel, but I need to go and upload more, even though I don't think I'm doing my best work. It doesn't matter. The repetitions are more important maybe. And a few years before, I didn't really care about that. I don't know what happened in the middle, but yeah, repetition too, because you move fast. This quote that is going around, like, business likes speed, like everything is kind of related to that. And I think it comes from the Elon Musk book. I don't know exactly where that quote came from, but I'm hearing that a lot. Maybe uploading more videos, it's really helpful just because you move faster. And instead of just polishing one video or being extremely or having the video extremely curated, maybe if you go 80% of what you visualize of the video and move to the next one, it's fine. And I believe there's some resistance to try and upload too. Yeah, Alex Hormozy, I believe it's the definition of a repetition. He understood from the beginning for me that he just goes and tries and yeah, and now he's there. Yeah, he knows a lot from experience. What do you think about that?
I think like I always have this problem, like, since I started this YouTube journey, about the quality and the quantity of the content, because at the same time I know I need to do repetition to get good, But at the same time, I don't want to release stuff that's not good and that's, below my standards and that I know people will not like, because if I post a lot of stuff that people will not like, I will not get like, like views or like build an audience or something like that. But if I too overthink it, then it's not good too, because you are not posting any content, and when you're not posting any content, you can't build much audience and trust too. So I'm trying to always find this balance in it, but sometimes it's hard. So for now, I make sure that I give my best in everything I do, and I have a deadline. So when I say I'm going to post this video today, I will post it, but I will make sure I did everything I could on it, and I, did all of that. And especially like another thought with the Alex Hormozy stuff you talked about was I always find his videos, even when now I watched it, are like his principles are so simple, and it almost like infuriates me that they work. Like, yes, like you just do repetition, you will be cringe and you will do that and that, but it's kind of, oh, it's really just that easy and it's just hard. And I'm watching all of these YouTube videos trying to find the perfect cheat code how to get into that faster, but it's actually just this.
Yeah, and actually, I believe that exact thing, repetition, is could be could be the only thing we need, probably, which is kind of funny. Yeah, I went on a like chase for information too a few years ago, and I realized that most of the stuff works for half the people and for the other half doesn't. So then it becomes noise, just noise about, oh, what works on YouTube, what do you have to go to do now, what's trending, what's not, what's changing. If you, I wonder now what would happen if I started like 2 years ago instead of keep looking for information, right? Most of the times things doesn't affect you, and you can start and uploading a video every 3 or 4 days. You just keep going, and I believe you will make more, generate more opportunities for you, and yeah, the internet works that way. Um, and I am applying this to myself. I'm telling this to apply to myself. I need to start posting more. Yes, for sure. I don't know what happened. Maybe I got too into, yeah, kind of similar to you, like to post something really, really good for my standards, or always pushing the standards like up, pushing the bar up. How do you call it? Pulling, raising the bar, raising the
Yeah,
bar.
racing.
There you go.
Yeah.
And maybe I got stuck. Maybe one day I realized this is a lot of work. I'm kind of tired. Maybe I will try to upload and have the videos be less from the beginning. And this is my advice to you. I believe you should upload the videos within a margin, so you can improve in the middle. So let's say you're comfortable with uploading a video a week, then that gives you time to improve something in the middle, or learn something to apply to the next video. The key is being consistent, but also if you start uploading a video a day or a video every 2 days, you don't have room to improve, and you keep stuck in the same, let's say, quality, right? So given that space, I believe it's really helpful. And instead of just pushing yourself, maybe if you change a little bit, a little thing, improve it, and then you apply it to the video, maybe that works for you. And you can go every week improving something, until one day you realize that you made lots of progress, and you learn a lot in the middle of each upload. That's how I used to do it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's how kind of I think of content or improving my content right now. I always like do a review of the content, what can I improve and what can I like do differently like to this day. But at the same time with this kind of format of podcasting, it is kind of, the main thing is just the conversation. And when you're still kind of improving, because I was before like all of this, I was a shy girl. I didn't want to talk to anyone, and if you said to me that I will be doing this, talking to random people on the internet, having a conversation with them, I wouldn't like believe you. So I'm still learning, and at the same time, every person has a kind of different vibe, or it depends on the day. How was it? How did I prepare for this? Am I over preparing? So it's kind of, and at the same time, there's so much stuff to improve. It's kind of I'm just focusing on the little steps, and I think even people like listening to this, it depends like on your situation, as you said like before. If it's not useful, don't use it, and especially like with all the like content advice, when the content advice is kind of going viral, like it's already not working at the time like you like go into it. So it's really interesting, and it kind of works with any advice that for some people it will work, for some people it will not work. And if you kind of do too much or improvements or advice at once, that maybe something will work but you will not know what it really was, so it's kind of useless.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
all of those things. But yeah, that's probably everything I wanted to say. But I think we, not I think, but I wanted to get into your channel that you had like before this kind of more of business content like, and like tell me more into that. How did you got into it and all of
All
it?
right. All right. So before that, one thing before, if we are talking about podcasts, I believe the best advice is keep going. You know that stat that 90% of something of podcasts just only have 6 episodes or something. Like
Yeah, I heard
it's
that.
it's insane. So consistency, yeah, and you'll be good. How many episodes you have? More than 10, right?
Yeah, more than 10.
Yeah, you're already into the 10%.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Yeah, you just keep going. About my channel. All right. So I used to play lots of video games, and ever since my parents bought me a camera on, I believe I was 7 years old or something, I started recording like from the beginning. I did actually like make a tour from my house when I was like little and talking about parts of my house. So I always felt that I had, I don't know, that kind of thing. I don't know why I did it, but I like it, just talking to a camera. I don't know. And then I got a PC and I started playing. Well, my parents got a PC. Sorry. And I started playing these games, these Blue Tower Defense games. A tower defense is a genre of strategy, really niche for some people, but at the time they were popular. Then 10 years later, I was kind of bored, I would say. Secondary school wasn't really that entertaining to me. I was getting bored. I didn't like the topics of the school. It was a orientation in science, kind of. I didn't really like that, and I said, well, why can I start a channel and start uploading videos? This is the thing. These games didn't have a translation to Spanish at the time. So I said, well, I know some English. I can teach them how the upgrades and all the things work, and kind of translate the information that's in the game and other YouTubers and start teaching them in Spanish. And that kind of worked because there was no real source of information for them to know what each upgrade did. There wasn't a Wikipedia or something like that, even in Spanish, only in English. So I started with that, and I and then I dropped out of university after I finished secondary school. I dropped out university. I was studying IT, I think it's called in English. I said, no, I want to keep doing videos. Then the pandemic came and I went kind of full time and I didn't have anything else to do. And that's when I kind of gained lots of subscribers. I was doing streaming, I was doing kind of communities on Discord, right, for this space. And the games also became a bit more popular, and I started gaining some traction. Then after I had this issue, yeah, the world kept going, right? The pandemic ended, and I had to get money to leave my house or keep moving forward in my life, and I couldn't make it through with my channel. So there's this thing that Spanish-speaking channels generally generate less income from ad revenue than English-speaking channels, and that's because how the system works. So let's say I have a car channel, right? A channel I talk about cars. Then YouTube says, hey, Volkswagen, Ford, here's a channel about cars. Do you want to put your ads on it? They say, yeah. But here's the thing. Let's say someone from the United States watches the content. Those people have more value than, let's say, a country from South America, Argentina. The only reason because of that is of the economic power they have. So they are more, they have more chances of seeing the ad and buying the car than a person from Argentina. And that is statistically true, I feel like. And that's why showing ads to Spanish-speaking countries is less expensive. So us creators who take a cut from ads get less money, right? That is how it works. And if you see the difference, is sometimes in some niches it's like 10 times more. People from, let's say, United States or speaking English-speaking countries get 10 times more than Spanish-speaking countries or YouTube channels, and that is insane. So yeah, in general, if I had a YouTube channel in English, that's my thing, I would have make it. But yeah, due to this, maybe due to me not knowing that and having another source of income, maybe doing streaming a little bit more, and instead of having uploaded videos, making my content around streaming, that could be an option. Could have been an option, sorry. And I didn't make it. So then I had an idea. Well, what if I edit for other people? And I got a few shows there, and I'm taking a rest because I'm kind of burned out of that. I'm trying to balance things in my life. I used to edit a lot and I was kind of tired, but yeah, it worked. I make a living with that, and now I'm trying to start uploading again, in a different way, because now I have this channel in English. My channel, was originally in Spanish, and I don't know what the future will be for me. But for now, I'm gonna start uploading and seeing what else I can do with it. That's it. That's my idea. That's my whole story of how I ended up here.
Wow, really interesting. Like all of this story, and like I didn't even think of that. Maybe in America they are making much more money from YouTube than, for example, in Argentina, or even now in Europe, just because of the economy and how like they handle ads, and like really interesting in that. And like there's a lot to unpack, but at the beginning, like how did your like even family or friends or your so, like people that surround you kind of reacted to you just wanting to, oh, I'm going to make videos for living and I'm going to drop out of uni?
Well, friends didn't have an issue. Like they kind of cared, they kind of didn't. Uh, they thought, yeah, that's cool. And my parents, I suppose they were kind of worried when I dropped university, and but yeah, the timing was not that bad because I remember at the time when the pandemic hit, the structure of the structure and the resources the university had weren't good for online teaching, let's say. So the experience got really worse. At the time here, there wasn't online, like having classes online wasn't a thing, wasn't even a thing. Everyone's kind of switched to since the pandemic now, but most of the stuff were like presential, right? You go to a university and you had to move cities and like the usual stuff. My parents kind of, well, at least he's doing something, right? The pandemic gave me some time to work on what I liked, and then I started like growing a little bit, gaining some audience, and they started to see, oh well, he kind of did something here, and I kind of gained some credibility there, right? So it kind of became natural. So I don't think we had that conversation about, oh, well, I'm kind of worried. What are you going to do? You drop your university to pursue this thing that I don't really know. I kind of started playing, and I went through it. Yeah, that's what I think what happened. That's what I think that, yeah.
And on the channel, what kind of games did you play? Did you play games like you liked playing or that were trending right now? How did you think of kind of growing this channel? Or was it just, your passion and I'm going to just post every day and kind of, as we talked about before, kind of just experimentation and doing this kind of consistency?
Right. So I experimented a lot. No, I wasn't consistent. I would say that. Sometimes I was doing like more streams, sometimes I was doing more videos, sometimes I had this really edited video to launch and see what happened. Because the video needed it, right? Sometimes you have, I used to have some moments that were kind of insane. Like when you get out there and you start recording, you start streaming, you have some interaction that it's, nah, maybe you get some popular YouTuber, you get paired with some popular YouTuber like online, right? Or maybe you have this crazy play, or like moments got generated along the way, and I said, well, if I go and just don't add anything to the video, well, it's a waste, right? It's kind of a waste. So those were the videos where I spent like a month editing and kind of seeing, well, how can I do this? And I say a month because at the time, yeah, editing was something I wasn't really fast at, right? It would take lots of time, but still I would dedicate the time. And so I kind of, for some videos I edited, some videos I have edited like a lot. Other videos just, hey, this is what happened today. Let's cut it. Let's add some music, and that's it. That's how I approached it. I remember you talking about games. No, I used to play just one game, one saga. It's the Bloons Tower Defense saga. It's not really popular, and I feel that was kind of a mistake. I should have played more games or more popular games to gain more attention. So even though I'm playing other games, people came to look forward to the way I. Hold on, let me start a sentence again. There's a difference between a viewer who watches you for the game and a viewer who watches the content for you. Sometimes you end up with YouTubers who have a great personality and they pick up every single game that's popular and they make it work because they have fun, because they're really like charismatic, right? So I sensed that in some the content wasn't great, but people were still there, and maybe I started thinking, well, maybe it's because I am entertaining or something. I should try something else. I didn't want to leave the game I was playing at the same time. I wanted to build a community around that because I thought, well, that was my initial goal, to push the Spanish community of the game forward. So I was kind of conflicted with that, and I ended up deciding to stay and play the same games. So I didn't play too much of that. And when I did, I approached it kind of wrong, I would say. So I have a second channel that I didn't show you, but in this channel, I started uploading Flash games. So my idea was to upload a Flash game every day. And we can learn from this, right? If you think about it, playing a different game every day, it's really hard for people to click with. Because sometimes you have a platform game, maybe you have a kind of a game with different mechanics, maybe it's a strategy, maybe it's fighting, maybe it's shooting, it's different genres, right? But at the same time, as we talked before, if I had to upload a video every single day, I wasn't really improving on that. So I got stuck on the same level of quality. And that didn't work, that series didn't work at all. So then I switched to video editing. And I was uploading at two channels at the same time. That was I would say a waste of resources, because with that experience I could maybe try something more polished in the channel I was already growing in this Bloom's Daughter Fence community. Instead of going to a second channel and start uploading something different, that was a decision I kind of regret. But yeah, at the end of the day, I learned from that. If I had to approach it now, I would say streaming is more valuable. But you still have to make content to promote the streaming, short form and long form. That's the differences. And I will try to make the content around different games to kind of not get boxed in one game and not depend on the popularity of one game. And that's, if you think about it, that's kind of playing the lottery. Sorry. Like if you're dependent on others people work, like how well the game is doing, how much content they put in every update. That's kind of a risky strategy to have. So having a channel of multiple games, I think that's my end goal for now. If I ever start uploading again, for now I have this thing. But yeah, I went a lot of topics. Did that make sense?
Yeah, it did. It did. And again, there's a lot to unpack. And I want to get to the beginning. And did you have and what were they? Those crazy experiences that you said you had, sometimes on streams or with the games, or what did you mean by that?
Yeah, right. So one day so there's this game. It's the same saga, but it's 1v1. And I got a streak of, I think, 13 or 40 games in a row, like winning in a row, and that's insane for the game. And I was at a really high level gameplay. Like I was in the top arena. So for me to win 13, 14 games in a row, that was a lot. And I ended up beating a few top players in that. That's a moment I kind of encaptured. And it was on live. And it was, yeah, I don't know. The thing is winning in a row. That's the thing. Like I don't know what happened that day, but I was playing really well. So that, for example, is a really piece of content, really good piece of content for you to then edit. Another moment, let's say, one day an update came, and a friend said, "Oh, this tower is trash. This tower doesn't work," and I didn't thought the same. So I make a video using that tower in a really difficult map, and I used that tower to win the match, and basically I made him react to that after. So I kind of created like, wait, what are you doing? You did this only to mock me. Yeah, that was the only reason. That's another thing. Yeah, there were some really special moments with that, and also fails. Not everything is a victory, all right. So yeah, lots of fails, lots of things that I did bad that didn't make sense. That's content too. I had lots of that. Everything that kind of the takeaway from this is everything that makes people feel something or react a certain way. I think it's good content, because if it doesn't have emotion, or it's kind of I wouldn't say the word plain, like in emotion, like nothing is really happening. It's kind of always the same. At the end of the day, it's boring. It becomes boring. So even though if you fail, I believe you have still to say that to make content too. That's why I spend lots of time editing. Yeah. Oh, and sometimes I will get in this online game. I will get matched with popular YouTubers from the English community. That was funny too, to play a match with them. And that's a piece of content too. Like it doesn't happen every time. So yeah, lots of I would say moments inside in the gaming niche. Normal in the gaming niche, that's kind of normal. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Lots of
And
moments happen.
yeah, and yeah, no, it's like pretty sweet, and kind of I think it can be a good piece of content, and especially when you said those streams and you said those fails, I think that comes within that too. That especially even I heard that there was this graph that you, as you said, you want to make like the person feel something, and sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low, and it creates this kind of contrast that really I think like can like improve the video. And I think like Stephen Bartlett with episodes had this like had these emotional arcs, and sometimes the person at the same episode laughs and then cry, and then all of a sudden. And I think those are the like best episodes. Even I think I like to kind of do make some examples with movies and kind of the filming industry, that like it's a circle. It goes like basically focuses on the emotion and the storytelling that I think even now our YouTubers are focusing much more on. And especially that comes with editing too, because you have a story, and it's like one of the biggest parts to edit it right, you know.
Right. And in this whole ecosystem, the editing just amplifies the emotion of the moment. It's really hard, and cinema is what I find really hard to do. Cinematic videos, I still haven't learned that yet, but there's so many details you miss on movies that you don't realize because the editing is good, and you skip And when you start to see that a video is edited bad or a movie is kind of edited bad, you notice. But in most of the films, you don't really notice, and you, instead of looking at the editing, you start watching the movie. It's really hard to disconnect from what's happening, right? The editing is so good because there are so many details and it's so precise. That's what I find really really hard to replicate. Details or in that cinematic, I would say, yeah, in more cinematic content. That's what I really strong. If I had to pinpoint something, yeah. Um, Nothing. That's my
Yeah,
input.
no. Yeah, I like especially when you're watching a movie, it kind of all blends together, and you don't notice the editing. You're kind of in the flow, or almost in the movie, and you're just watching and it's flowing because when it's good editing, you don't just kind of see, oh, this, or you maybe like see like this is a good shot, this was a good transition, but most of the time it just flows. Even I noticed that with like the kind of music design, that like some songs are like precisely for this kind of shot and all of that sudden, and it just creates this kind of beautiful like scenario with good edits and with the music that even like supports the feeling, with the editing, and it kind of all goes into this one thing, and it kind of seems effortless, but it's really hard.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I watched the movie
Yeah,
Interstellar lately.
Intel,
That's a
in,
beautiful song. I
yeah,
watched a breakdown after about the music, and you don't even notice. That's the thing. Yeah, hard word for to pronounce for both.
yeah.
Interstellar. I got it.
Intel still. I know it in my language, but in like English, it's like some words are just
Hold on. How it's in your language? Say it.
Intel in podcast. Oh wait, Intel Stellar. It's I don't know how to say it like well, but it's called like Intel Stellar.
Right.
Stellar.
My language is Interstellar.
Yeah.
I
You know
got
now.
stuck even
Yeah, now
in this
I'm
one.
switching from English to my language, and
Yeah,
it's kind of weird.
happened the same
So
to me. If I think if you go back, I said two words in Spanish because I can't go in Spanish. That's the struggle of yeah. I get you.
being bilingual, all of a sudden you don't know any language basically.
That's the thing too. I realized. Um, yeah, I made so much content in Spanish. I was nervous at the camera when I filmed the Dango video.
Mm.
I am saying to myself, what's happening? I have like 400 videos. Why I am nervous? It's because of the language, and I had to get that out of my head, which is really interesting because at the end of the day, it's the same thing. I'm just talking another language, yeah. But it's funny. I heard lots of people say that they are really conscious about how they speak and that it's a really real issue. Yeah, for creators, for people who get out there and talk. Um, but the funny thing is that if you are able to talk to the camera in another language, that's, I believe, 99% better than you have more skill than lots of people there. So it's, yeah, a matter of perception, I would believe. Yeah.
Absolutely, and especially when people, even for me, I'm so used to talking in English, and I have like more of a confidence. That's the thing, especially when making videos too, is the confidence in talking, and basically you gain that just by again experience and doing that and improving. And always when people like say to me like say something like in your language or in your that, I'm kind of like I'm not kind of used to this, so how can I right now switch from English to that language and say it right in my language and all of that thing, because I'm not used to like speaking in my language, especially with like other people I met on the internet. I know actually just one guy from Slovakia that like just one guy from like the same country, and all of the other people are all around the world, which is super cool, and all of that. And I think it gets back to the confidence, as you said, like I need to get it like out of my head. And even the imposter syndrome when you're doing those videos, and especially I think especially in this educational space, most people are kind of just noise again, and you kind of may get the feeling of like, well, who am I to talk about this and that, and all of those kind of things that get into you.
Yeah, also in the education space, you find lots of people who talk really well. Like they have their pronunciation, their speech. That's another thing I talk about in the Dan Goes paradox. That he got his speech right. So if you compare, there's a clip where I compare when he was starting and now. At the beginning, he was doing. He has lo-fi music for background, and the timing and the flow of his words got mixed with the background music. So it was kind of annoying to hear both at the same time. Maybe because the music was a little bit loud too. So in saying that everything matters, right? But now Dan controls the pacing, the rhythm, like in every word he's saying. So if he says something important, he slows down, for example, or he emphasizes it. And at the end of the day, that's a skill. So in the education space, you have lots of people here with that experience, and yeah, of course, that makes you insecure, especially if you're starting. That at least that happened to me when I was comparing, right? When I was putting my videos or how I speak with other creators who just, let's say, start a video and they speak like that like they've been on radio for 10 years, and maybe they were. That's the reason. Maybe because they had that background of a public speaker. Yeah. So yeah, it's all a matter of comparison. But some people have really good speech skills. I don't know how to say. Yeah.
Yeah, like speaking skills is like really important, and especially like in every like I have a feeling that everybody's saying right now that yeah, social media like is so easy. No, like how can I say it? There was this transition like few years ago. Social media was taken as something like, even in my country they take it like, oh, this is just a game, people don't actually make money from it, get a real job, care about something like better. And right now there was this transition, I think especially in America, that everybody is doing social media now, and everybody, especially after COVID, is making content. And kind of the field, or even like YouTube and all of that stuff, got really like saturized, and only like the best of the best right now are kind of getting most of the attention. I heard that every minute there's like 500 hours of content just put into YouTube, which are crazy numbers. And some like I heard this analogy of jungle, that before this, like 60 years ago, in media there was very polished, kind of films and series and what could have been on the TV. But YouTube is kind of jungle. Everybody is just saying their opinion, saying this and saying that, and everybody kind of just, yeah, it's a jungle with everybody's like opinions and all of that, and only like the biggest like animals, kings are winning and getting most of the attention or food, as we may call it.
Yeah, and that creates noise. That's what I'm seeing. Uh, and then we can talk about AI.
Yeah, I want to get into that too.
That changes. That would I don't know what will happen, but that would change things again. But even without AI, when when everyone was jumping onto YouTube, I saw lots of people who were there for the business aspect of it, just business, and others, yeah, kind of for entertainment, fun. But nowadays, I feel that educational content on YouTube is quality educational content on YouTube is really hard to find because people are more focused on the content and how, instead of saying, well, how valuable this educational piece of content is and how can it change people's lives or for the better, let's say. Instead, they are focusing on how well this piece of content can get or how many views can it get. They kind of structure it in a format where it's still entertainment, but it's mixed with education. So lots of people are getting through that, and I think that happened a few years ago. So I followed lots of channels of that they were talking about science, maybe physics, chemistry on YouTube. So also psychology, also health, right? So they were all in the kind of same groups. They were friends, right? And they all have kind of the same issue that their videos weren't doing well. And we're not talking about small channels. We're talking about channels with millions of views. Some of them, they ended up leaving because they couldn't make money with YouTube anymore because their views were decreasing, and this happened at the same time you were mentioning, like COVID. Like lots of people entered. I believe the YouTube ecosystem changed, and they couldn't adapt to that. And I would say that those channels had really good information, and they cared about the information they put out. And they weren't making videos because of the content, because of the views, of the retention aspect of YouTube. They were there to provide information, useful information that the traditional media wasn't covering at all. I don't know why. I should think more about this, but something changed in the way in the education niche, and the channels, I believe they got kind of forced to adapt to content, to just entertain more. And in that process, information gets lost. Maybe they say, oh well, let's discard this piece of, because it's kind of boring. Maybe they'll get people off the video. It's a valid decision when it comes to content and audience retention, but if everyone is on the same train, what do we have? Like noise of just information, noise of information. Like no, you don't get anything valuable. You know what? I have another example. Editing tutorials. So I have this thing. I will say here. I will make a video about this, I believe. But editing tutorials, I don't think they teach you how to edit. They teach you how to use the video editor. So if we put the example, like, let's say editing is like cooking, right? So let's say you follow a recipe. You have the ingredients, you follow the recipe, and do you know how to cook? Kinda, because you actually follow the steps, you did the recipe, but then if you try to cook another thing without a recipe, you can't. Because you don't know the concepts and how to cook, you know how the elements relate to each other and how to make something different, I would say. I don't know. Let's say if you want to make a cake, you don't know how to cook pizza, let's say, if you don't know anything about cooking, right? Editing is kind of the same. These tutorials, they teach you how to use the video editor, like how to do this on, let's say, DaVinci Resolve, how to do this on Adobe, how to do this animation, how to do that. But I haven't found a single piece of content that teach you the fundamentals of editing. Let's say how to cut a video, how to make it flow, why the music is important, why the sound effects are important, all of that. And I'm seeing more and more tutorials being just content and optimized for attention. They skip lots of details that then people complain in the comments, and ironically that makes the video maybe more get the comments have
attention, you know.
Yeah, the video gets recommended more because of the comments, because of the likes, and I don't know, it becomes contradictory. I've seen that too in editings, in tutorials. I don't know, it's kind of strange, because at the end of the day, information gets lost. Really valuable information gets lost. Have you seen something similar to this? I don't know, what content do you watch? Do you used to watch?
Yeah, I kind of, even now, I like, you know, sometimes of like physics content, like math and all of that, especially like in technology. I have, you know, too many interests. That's why I kind of started this podcasting thing. But it was, I get what you're saying, that, you know, some channels were doing good, but now when the COVID came and, you know, all people got home and they started, you know, kind of listen to content that some people that may even that did well failed, because, you know, it just fundamentally is just a change. Because I think I saw like all of these changes, like especially when I like started like watching YouTube, and I think kind of now I think most people do it just for the content, or just not just for the content, but just for the like entertainment. And those who do educational content do it like try to make it as educational as possible, but they kind of need to play according to the rules, you know, rules of attention and how to, you know, catch this person like attention and that. I saw like this video about Mr. Beast and how he like first he had these, you know, boring videos like just, you know, saying Logan's Paul like 10,000 times and counting to 100,000, and, you know, actually it's boring stuff, you know, some physics stuff is I think kind of interesting, but, you know, this is not, and it was not, you know, who knows what was boring or not boring, or for what people, I don't like decide that. But now this kind of, he does this much more, even storytelling, but even videos like are meant for attention. Like he's like called a genius for that he knows how to capture attention, and he has all of these like documents about like for his team about how it works and how they should capture attention and all of that, because that's basically what works. That's even like even science, that's how our mind works, and that's how every algorithm works on the internet.
Right. Nowadays it's just how much do you stick to the video, and that gets recommended. And that's why I love Substack. Substack is really different. There it's just every post, notes and posts. Yeah, I get confused. Every post is straight up really condensed information with a spark of critical thought, critical thinking, right? Like, and also stories from people who went through lots of crazy things, honestly, and that's more valuable, I believe, that all the content we are seeing on other and all the rest of the social media apps. I believe that's a part of the decisions of the creators of the app, like how the algorithm recommends stuff, right? Because in Substack, if you go to your feed, you probably get lots of posts with good information, or let's say better information than just a YouTube video. I don't know how do they, what are the metrics are for a video to get recommended, right? But it feels different.
Yeah, I actually had a talk about this with like in DMs in Substack. That while like Substack, everybody is saying that Substack like feels different, and there's actually stories and all of that, like really good writing, and especially like before when it was starting, when Dan Coe actually came to Substack, that is a really good platform. And from then, like, people are saying that, even some people like, oh, Substack has really changed since, or not, no, since, but Substack has really changed and that. And I heard, like, I had a conversation that maybe that's how, all the social media is. That, before it was like really this condensed information, people really caring about the thing, writing all of this great stuff. And then as more people got into it, more people started doing these tutorials on how to grow this and how to grow that, and everybody is saying like, how should you, it's kind of, when was the golden rush, the people who made the most money was those who sold the shovels. It's kind of the same mentality. And I know, because even though I have like, even now I'm low in followers, before like all of this I was doing kind of this content thing and was trying to advise people on how to grow their content, even though I had almost no idea, or not no idea, but how to make good content for myself. And I kind of dropped out of that, but it taught me a lot. And to get back into that thought, when like Substack gets more popular and gets more traction, maybe it will happen the same with like as the other platforms. Who knows? And kind of it depends, because sometimes on YouTube, like there's a lot of stuff that is not really useful and will never be. But if you train your algorithm in a good way, that you will kind of watch and support this actually good stuff that's good for you, I think the algorithm will show it to you more.
Yeah, that's a skill in today's world. That's a skill everyone needs to have, because if you don't do that, your attention gets destroyed. You get lost. Yeah. I think it will happen to Substack too. I agree with you that when Substack gets more popular, eventually it will get rewarded for other things. Sorry, the algorithm will reward you for other things that I feel. But it's kind of because the audience kind of wants that too. So the people, I believe that if people read really good information, or maybe you have an audience of writers, they don't want the posts to be like, here's 5 ways to use AI to make, I don't know, you have a mix of things. I'm not saying that every post about AI is bad, but the kind of posts I'm talking about, right? The ones who don't actually are useful, right? Yeah. So so lots of people, so if you maintain that audience of writers and you make it grow, will the algorithm change? I don't know. Even though it becomes more popular, maybe the content of the platform changes. I don't know. I that's a question it's out of my reach.
Yeah.
What I would say, oh, you were going to say something?
No. You go on.
What I was going to say, I was going to tell you about a post I saw. It was called "How to Use Cloud Code how to replace your 2K per month editor with Cloud Code." And that was a title. I said, hold on, already? I'm already getting replaced, and I need to see how that gets developed, because I saw some videos that they use Cloud Code to make actions or tasks inside the video editor, right? So that's kind of interesting. Actually, I will say this: my approach to AI is kind of the same. Let's use AI to make the repetitive tasks I don't want to do, and save time for us to create stuff. That's kind of my approach. In my editor, in DaVinci Resolve, there's a tool where it just removes the silences of the video, the entire video, and it just cuts the video like in 10 seconds, 30 seconds. Instead of me working like 1 hour and a half, I just cut the video, and it's insane. I don't cut videos anymore. Now I focus on the editing, like, and the other stuff, like music, VFX, and stuff. But what if you push it further, right? So I'm starting to see a trend of posts about this, like AI is being used to replace everything. So on that topic, I would say there's a chance that people will have more time to create more valuable stuff, or maybe to keep writing like the way I believe the ecosystem of Substack is doing right now. And I hope that stays that way. Instead of posting about how to automate your business, like let's let the AI do it. We can make a system about that, like, and let that be 10% of content. Then the 90% of the content make it about like living our lives, documenting our stories, and kind of going outside. I don't know. I feel that's what I would love to see, and more on YouTube too, because YouTube, the video is not the same as writing, right? So I believe people should start and tell more stories about their life instead of just posting for a business. I don't know. I can't find channels who do that, like, and it also doesn't hit the same for some reason. Yeah, but does it happen to you? Like, don't you see some, like, for example, 5 years ago, maybe 7, 8 years ago, you were kind of enthusiastic about watching YouTube or a creator or a series. Now it doesn't hit the same for me sometimes. There are some creators that are insane, but does this happen to you?
Wait, could you repeat that thought, because I don't know if I got it right.
Yeah. So what happens to me is there's 10 years ago, 7 years ago, when I used to watch like a YouTube video about something, it kind of excited me, but now it doesn't hit the same, because I don't know what is it about the content, seeing that their videos are made kind of different, and I still cannot find those YouTubers that kind of document their life, or maybe do videos for the sake of making videos instead of doing a business or aim for attention of that. Just, yeah. But even though if I can find those, because there are some YouTubers that really document stuff and make their content a story of itself. I can name a few. I would say Life for Reason is an example. There's a girl also, I'm gonna look for it because I don't remember. It's called Natalie something. She got to travel in a van, but I don't remember Natalie Pan.
But I like get your yeah. Now I get
Natalie
it.
Lim.
Natalie
Lim, yeah. Lim also. She got just, she went straight out to hold on. Where's my window? Sorry. She went to live her life on a van, like a nomad life. And she recorded everything. So her content is amazing. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I have that, especially when, yeah, especially as you said, when it comes to these lifestyle YouTubers, because before it kind of excited me, like, oh, I want this and that, but as much as I watch it, the more I just kind of feel like, uh, not that it's less authentic, but it's kind of them just showing the very shiny and perfect part of, what they're experiencing, and not really showing, kind of, as somebody would say, the messy middle, and kind of the real experience of it, especially like when you start going on this YouTube journey, or this thing, you have this expectation of how it will look like. And now when you're kind of going through it, and all of those emotions of, oh, this didn't work out, and that didn't work out, and then you watch your videos, you're like, I know it's not supposed to, like, it's not very good, but you kind of compare yourself, and you're kind of, oh, they have just, something I literally dream of, and they are complaining about, or they don't have like as much issues as I have, or all of that, which is probably not true, because the bigger you are, the bigger issues there are. That even rhymed, I don't know how. But that's why I kind of like this channel called, from Grace Andrews, because it is just talking head. It is not anything big, but she shows like all of the struggles, even when the week is hard and she has a lot of things, but she still like delivers the video and talks about this topic, so it is even valuable, not just her documenting the stuff. And all of that. So the more kind of I'm into this content stuff, I tend to go towards the YouTubers and content creators that, I know this word is like overly used, but kind of like more authentic and more raw. And
Yeah, this what you say about comparing like the version of the video you have in your head versus how it goes, versus maybe other YouTuber videos, it kind of remind me of music. When you're basically comparing, for example, you singing, like you are starting to sing and you're learning the basics, versus a person in a studio with 10 people, and after that, like, they got filters for altering their voice, they have autotune, they have a little reverb, like, and also I believe it's kind of the same with YouTube. We are becoming really good at manufacturing emotions, I would say. On post-production on the editing, on the recording of it, and like you said, we are getting like, I see some YouTubers that they are really good at showing the perfect thing, scenario, and everything fits. And also, when something bad happens, they have the editing and the post production and everything too, to amplify that emotion. And something gets in the way, because is that real? Is it real what we are watching, or is and then we are trying to chase that in our own lives. So that's a thing to get into, to analyze, and to think about, because what is authentic then? I believe what is authentic is just a story, and telling what happened to the camera. That can be your the most honest thing you can do.
yeah,
And tell a story. And you still need editing and other stuff to show some stuff, of course, in case you need it. But we are missing that. We are missing out on authenticity. And unless you're like Dan, that makes the editing and everything he does an extension of himself, if you don't get the message right, and if you don't care about what you put out in the world, you get trapped into this attention economy, and then the editing and everything, it becomes part of content that is I believe, manufactured or artificially created for retention. I believe that's the difference there. That's why it's so hard to copy Dan. I keep talking about that, but yeah, it's really hard. And there are some YouTubers that I would say the same about, because they are so in brand and so yeah. So that authenticity is what I kind of miss about YouTube. Or I used to watch a lot, but it's not now. It doesn't feel the same for some reason. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Let me just kind of light this up because I started disappearing like midway because it's night out here. But yes, I absolutely I kind of agree with that. As you said with the music, it is kind of you know comparing you're at level 1, comparing yourself to somebody who's level like 25. Even the video game like kind of mindset or it's like something like this, comparing yourself, that it has actually like no real like use for it. And as you said, like with authenticity, and like it doesn't feel like right now it's in the content much, but I think because it was kind of the starting phase and everybody, it was kind of those years. And then as we talked about, and COVID it got worse. I think right now Substack is in the stage of kind of authentic, good raw content,
Yeah.
So
I
basically,
believe. Go. Yeah.
no, go.
No. I interrupted you. Yeah.
There's like nothing I wanted to add, but even maybe like a transition a little into the AI, because I think right now it's like a lot of into that we have AI like kind of the slop. Many people think about it, and I talked about this with like an older guy on this podcast, and he said like, the AI is not the problem, we are the problem, because we are consuming the content and we are kind of pushing it. And if people didn't watch it, it wouldn't be there, so it's kind of our fault. That was the perspective I kind of thought was interesting.
Most people, I believe I agree, most people don't know how to stop watching it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically it. So I agree, it's our fault. It's insane. People are so hooked in, and also we can talk about information too, right? I actually don't know what is real, what is not. I got tricked like I believe 7 times. That's fine. But I got tricked lots of times, and I don't even know if I don't scroll or watch too much like Instagram. I don't use social media that much, but it's like how a person that like basically grew on the internet can identify already what's real. It's so insane. So coming back to the information we we're talking about, I believe information it's in danger. What will happen if we can identify anything news related or information related, right? Even in terms of politics or news that got into that are important, right? I get tricked by journalists, or just basically trying to disinform on purpose. And now they have that tool, video tool, to make fake content, and it's insane. Now I kind of worry about that a little bit. But if I had to shed some positivity into that, I would say that as long as there's someone creating something valuable, or something they are alienated with, and making that maybe their living, so they keep doing it, we're fine, because you're balancing the disinformation in some sense.
Yeah.
I would put it like that.
And to like the thought I think you had before, as you said, like with like the cloud and cloud kind of already now kind of taking over editing. I think like I talked to some editors about it, and they like talked about it like maybe an editor will get replaced by AI, but editor who uses AI will not. So you kind of need to take advantage of it and get more kind of most editors get into it and not be like kind of that stubborn and don't use it. I think I have problem with that sometimes too, and I'm sure other people have that. You know, you really care about authenticity and the story and all of that because yeah, like of course the story is the most important, but the editing is kind of too. Or I would say like that. Great editing cannot fix the story. You need to have like the fundamentals first, the story first, and then the editing just enhances it. And especially right now are popular like kind of creating those AI videos, and I see right now more than ever kind of these ads about create this video with this company and that. So it kind of gets into that, but even with writing, I heard a lot of advice on just don't like writing. Some writers may like kind of get replaced, but the real like kind of writers, creators, and those who use AI to enhance their job, I think will not. Or even we get always back to Danko, but I think he had some perspective on AI, and he is like a lot of into it too.
Yeah. Um, AI in editing, I believe, is the same as code. Like kind of, you do code. I saw you do. You're learning
Yeah, I'm
something.
learning
Yeah.
Python. It is like hard journey because I'm doing a lot of stuff and I have priorities, but I try to like do some code and I kind of get some of the fundamentals of it. And my like dad like is a coder, my brother too, so I have
Oh,
something in that.
no, that's cool. So yeah, I think it's the same. Um, and also we have this thing that Dan talks about taste, right? Kind of like Rick Rubin is doing with music, which he doesn't know how to play an instrument, but he believes he has good taste, so artists call him to collaborate with him and create that space for creative inspiration. I believe if editors, more people will get into editing because of AI, but because of that, they won't develop that creative aspect of the editing. And then we will start getting like just the basics. I believe it's kind of the same. Lots of editors use how to know VFX and sound effects and in music and how pacing. Sorry, a few editors learn everything about that, like every aspect of that. Then we have the other editors that I think that it's the same example as cooking, that they learn a recipe for a sound effect, for a VFX, sorry, and they just replicate it and they just put it on the video and they don't know how to interact, how that interacts with the video. They put it at the wrong timing. I believe AI will bring more of those editors rather than the ones who really master their editing. Like, yeah, same thing. I think this could be applied to everything. You need to know the basics for AI to amplify your work. I'm kind of experiencing this in writing too, because when I got exposed to writing, I got I got the sense that AI will be better. I heard lots of people say that AI will get better at writing than humans, and this is how to do it, this is how to make the prompt, this is. But at the end of the day, now because it's easily available, everyone started doing the same, and yeah, of course, what we makes us human is that we write like humans and we feel things that the machine doesn't. So I think it's kind of the same. If you want to delegate your writing, you need to know how to write. You just don't create a system, and yeah, some people have the skill to write it, but they delegate the entire thing to AI, because now there's Obsidian plus Cloud Code, so Cloud know everything you put into Obsidian, right? So then you can copy your style of writing, copy the topics you know, and basically you don't notice if AI wrote the thing or you wrote the thing. But at the end of the day, those persons, at the end of the day, the key differentiator there is how much the creator knows because of the ideas they get, or maybe the approach to writing. That's my thing. And yeah, in code, with editing, with maybe marketing, maybe graphic design, everything is the same for that. Yeah. Do you think we're getting an AI backlash, or it will get going?
Yeah, I can agree, especially with you, because taste is such a like weird thing that I think we can't replace. It is like so human because you kind of know what's good, and why do you know it's good? Like, it's just good. You know what I mean? So I think, especially even with marketing and all this stuff, a lot of people are talking about what will change and what will kind of, this or that. But I think we should maybe focus, or I heard like a lot of people like talking about this, that we shouldn't focus on things that will change. We should focus on things that will stay. And I think one of those things that will stay is taste, and knowing what's good, because how do you want to like post good content even with AI if you don't know what's even good content and why it works and everything like that? I think that's why we get even the slop that people are just posting content that AI took from like 1,100 like posts or anything like it. I'm not like perfectly sure how LLMs work, but I think they work on just a lot of information to get into them, and they just spill it out. So I agree with you on that, and I think it comes to many skills. It is like taste, and I think human nature and kind of that psychology of it, even with editing, that even the attention that he with things with attention and things with persuasion, because like humans are humans, and I don't know, maybe that like will change sometimes, but the like fundamental things will not change. They're just in the span of 5 years that we have AI right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, it's such a short time to kind of grasp of where are we going with content and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I believe taste. Go. Yeah.
I talked to founder, AI app founder, and like I asked them about like their predictions about future and everything, and like he said to me that I have no predictions about the future because future is so uncertain. I like even don't want to make, or not don't want to, I just don't make predictions. I just focus on the next step I'm going to do.
Yeah. It's insane. Actually insane. Yeah, I looking too much into the future, it's harmful right now.
Yeah.
Getting exposed to it's and it's really hard to disconnect sometimes because you still have to know and say, well, can I use this to my own benefit? Is this, how does it affect me? And you're like, and then you get introduced to a new AI that, let's say for example me, that I found this cloud code thing replacing an editor, so then you automate the editing. It's like, well, how do I feel about this, right? It's like every few months or every few weeks you get with something new with AI that makes you really think about how that plays out in your life. And I believe the key is just constantly thinking about that and then say, all right, no, that doesn't help me that I'm gonna keep going. Because you can because you can completely disconnect, especially if your shop is online. That's the thing. So I believe that's why more people are looking into traditional shops and disconnect from internet entirely. I don't know the percentage of people that are doing that. I don't believe there are that much, but it seems that there are some people that are disconnecting more and more. But yeah, it's that is the balance you have, and I'm really good. I became really good at filtering information and not trying to get exposed to news or to negative content. And because I have some issue with social media, like I believe most of people, and I said no, I don't want this. So yeah, I stay really disconnected from news, except when I hear from someone who says, "Oh no, this new AI is insane and everyone's talking about it," or maybe about the most general aspect of what's happening. What are the thoughts of the world about AI? Where is this is going? Maybe some bigger news, but that's it. Because if I start looking too much into information, yeah, I get lost. I get lost and I don't act. So yeah, I completely agree with the person you talked to that said that. Yeah, there's no other way.
And it's kind of that, planning stuff used to be cool. Yeah, kind of plan this out and this action out and that. And honestly, now I think everything we plan just changes in just a day or something. So that, and for me, that I used to like filter a lot of like, especially news. I basically don't watch that absolutely. Only like if the world ends, I will kind of know, or if it's just a big news, I will know about it. And when it comes to AI news, I think it's really just to filter all of that stuff. It's pretty hard. And as you said, like when something really new and cool comes around, or from the resources I trust, they say something about this or that, I think I will know about it. And especially as you said, there's a lot of noise. And yeah, you kind of filter it because most of the noise kind of just, yeah, it sounds kind of the same. Especially like, I think there's this thing when you say, like when people are exposed to the same word again and again, for example, like stop or warning, it was so like generalized that stop or warning with these hooks or something like that, it kind of has less impact on people. That's why in most like headlines or hooks, the first like thing we see is like stop and read this, because it's so like cheesy and everybody has used it, and like people need to now try more when making hooks. So it kind of works the same way, or I
Yeah,
think.
I'm getting like annoyed at the how I, just the two words. How I did this, how I da da da, how I like, just how I, and everyone uses it. It works, but it's strange that it's true that when someone comes with a trend and now everyone is using it, it becomes.
Yeah, it was first like how to, then how I, and I'm like excited for what's next.
Yeah, we're seeing a what, hold on, there has to be a trend. Well,
Probably
the how to is the trend, kinda, right?
how
I'm getting
I
annoyed seeing it. How I? All right.
how to was before, and then like as you said with the tutorials, people kind of started to say that this does not work for me and like that. But most people don't realize that the person doing the tutorial or doing the kind of strategy thing was, this worked for me, so they started using how I. And I think right now most of the things that go viral is that they have AI in their, those two big letters in their hook, and those kind of get popular. But I'm not sure honestly, even how-to videos are like still on it, you know? There isn't like this is fully dead or we don't see that anymore, you know?
Yeah. Also, I want to talk about a little bit about I think a trend is becoming kind of annoying. I was talking, I don't remember who. Yes, I remember. Shout out to Nick Serpico, by the way. I will get in contact with him. He needs to be here talking with you. You both need to talk together. Like, I'm gonna talk to him, and you will get him into here.
I
I'm
would
for sure
love
do.
to, you know,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
get me his profile and we can, you know, talk about it.
yeah, for sure. All right, so I don't know what we were. I don't remember what we saw, but you know the mystification of YouTube now is getting to extreme because of the how I made like let's say $30,000 million in 2 hours, kind of
Yeah,
like going to an extreme in a really short amount of time, and that is kind of the trend, but the numbers are getting insane. But it's always more and more in less and less time.
yeah.
We need to go back to being more realistic. But that's a trend I am seeing in everything. And also this kind of affects how we approach life because now we are on that mode of all or nothing, right? How to change your life immediately right now? How to kill your past self, right? To evolve into a new person. Why can't I make that transition slowly, right? But it has to be, so hardcore, right? It's the same with YouTube channel. How to have 1,000 subscribers in 1 week, in 1 month, in like everything is right now, and I don't really like it. I think that's the trend right now with the titles and the meta. But it kind of gets your attention too because you want it at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of all works kind of all together because even with the algorithm, you get your dopamine, you know, right away, right? When you're watching those videos and when you're going like into this, and everybody knows just the thing right now. That's, I think, more one of the most people that people quit with all of this YouTube stuff and with this kind of going after their dreams because they don't have it right now, and basically everything in this like culture we created is kind of, yes, you have this right now without any work, just, you know, just do this, click that, buy that, you know. And
Yeah.
especially, you know, with the economy and everything. What did you want to say?
No, I'm not.
Then yeah, where was I? I was, yes, everything. Most of those videos I think get a lot of views, but honestly, like I was kind of the person that was looking for those cheat codes and I wanted to everything right here right now, but I realized that it is probably, it is slower some, but you know, even the change or the gratification or what you're doing will be better because we saw those, you know, get rich fast schemes, but I think the people don't actually stay rich. They just have a, you know, this peak of money that they luckily get that 99.9% of people will not get, like, ever. And you know, they made a video about it, and that's basically where their money comes from right now. So it is kind of the cycle, and you know, I watched all of those videos, I tried, but most of it doesn't work, and most of it, like, those people make money from those videos. But I'm not saying everybody is a scammer or something, but you know, it's everything right here right now, and all of those, like, there's an especially, like, yes, I made 100 million in like 1 hour, just copy my framework. It's yeah, it's kind of I don't know, it kind of even kills the journey that most people say who are at the top, that journey is the reward actually. So I know.
Yeah, it kills the journey. It's true. Yeah. Because now you start a journey with the expectation, with that expectation. That is what kills the short me. It's true. And
Yeah.
I'm going back to YouTube and my beginnings because I thought, well, how I started. Did I have that expectation in mind? No. Like which is insane. Now I, even though I don't like that thought, I still have it. Like, oh, to get this thing in this amount of time. Like if my video doesn't get uh, this amount of views, it's a disaster. That's not true, right? Uh, but when I wasn't exposed to this, when I was a teenager, I just straight up started making videos and gaining repetitions without me even notice because my goal was another thing. Now we're this thing with being really. I believe we are getting into more superficial things with this type of content. We only focus on superficial things, on the results, on the numbers, on how you're making everything this fast, and that's it. Not even considering that in the short run you learn a lot, or maybe you just want to slow things down. That's okay, and that's interesting. Yeah. So I find it really surprising that I didn't have this approach when I started, because now I had to tell the story, right? How I started, and I didn't have this thing. My main goal was to help people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I have this chip in my mind that I need to uninstall. So that's good. I wasn't realizing that. Yeah.
Absolutely, that I kind of always think of that Naval. I don't know if you know him, this famous guy on X. Had this idea of kind of levers, and we focus just on this really small thing that of course, is like sometimes it's important, but these likes, these views, and we don't really think about it like deeper, and it is just like if you really care about making the content good, helping people and having those good intentions, I think those other things will just kind of align, and you will start getting the views. You will start looking into how to get attention and all of that, because just focusing on just this thing and just that thing is kind of, I don't know, it just focusing on the 80% and not on the 20% that will get you the 80% of the actual results. Of course, get into details, like I get into details, and even with comments, I have tried to be very intentional, because with comments it is like, what conversations are you starting, and those people who comment are probably actually invested in the video and want to like conversate, especially on our podcast. What you're measuring is a really good thing, like a good thing to think about. And basically, like, yeah, all of that, just being like intentional with it all.
Yeah. Absolutely. I wanted to ask you how did you start something related, but I have this question. Why are you into coding right now? What did you start?
Why did I start? It was something. It was, I kind of like saw this skill as profitable, and I think coders. I got into this AI stuff and all of that because I wanted to talk about AI in a positive way, where I saw people are getting into a lot of noise, and I didn't want it to do that. And as you get into AI and technology, you kind of just naturally get into coding. And as I said, my dad and my brother it's doing, and I talked about him about this. But even as the age of AI, no age of AI, but as this thing goes, I think coding, or not at least like coding like this complicated, but the mindset of a coder and how to do this and how to do that on computer will be really useful, especially with AI. And vibe coding is really like popular right now. So I'm just learning the fundamentals, having fun with it, not really being like focused on it right now because a lot of stuff, but I try to do that. Like sometimes when I have time, it's like I would say it's a hobby, but I think it's important. And sometimes I have those like kind of periods in my life or weeks or months when I'm like, oh, I didn't code it, but I eventually get like naturally back into it.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a thing you have in your life. Is it a hobby though? Well, you're building your future, kind of. It's a thing for your future.
Yeah,
Like
like
it's
even
really
for my
important. Yeah.
future. And do you want to get into like coding and all of that stuff, or were you just curious?
I might get into it, but not right now.
Yeah.
But I think we are also I also believe we are getting into an age where knowing how to code and knowing lots about computers will get more important, more and more important. Because yeah, if this tool, who's dominating the world, not in a real sense for now, I hope, but it's everywhere. It's well, sorry, I got lost there.
Oh, okay.
You you manage it through code and computers. You need to know about that. And as technology goes, everyone will get more access to that too, to technology, to maybe everyone having a. If we don't have a, if it's not happening right now, right? I believe everyone has access to a computer or even that knowledge of code. I believe we might get into an age where everyone or a few people may need to know how to code to manage these tools with AI and stuff. I feel that yeah, I feel that that would happen. But but yeah, because if AI starts doing more and more human tasks, then you need to know how to control that with code or how to use a computer too and know the limitations and know the space environment, right? That's yeah. So I see it. I I use Cloud Code a bit, and the artifacts thing is really cool. I know it's not the same, of course, because it's language converted to code, right? Uh, and Cloud does all the work. But I still learn a little bit about how things work. And even though I just did I'm doing a website, I found things amazing. Like just iterating with that with cloud, right? It's really good to see how it works. So yeah, I don't think I dislike it. Also I have some bad experiences in university. Remember that
Yeah.
I studied IT. Um, I didn't really like how they approach to code was. So I remember we were learning Pascal. I think it's a language or something. I don't remember exactly. But not even that. It was a variation they made with libraries they had in the university. So it wasn't really applicable to more complex stuff. It was a really old language or something. So I got annoyed with that. Just things being so kind of closed up, and I didn't really know why I was learning this or how was this useful, right? I didn't know anything. They didn't teach us anything like that. So it's like doing this and start learning about it is kind of reconnecting again and and kind of separating these two thoughts. It's like I don't like code, or they were teaching me in a way that I wasn't enjoying it, right? So I really know I don't dislike code at all. So yeah, that's the thing I realized.
For sure. Especially like with Python, it is not that different from, the actual language. That's why I'm learning it. And as you said, like really interesting that even in my school they were like, oh, we are going to now code or now edit, but we were editing on like this 100-year-old program that like barely like just like worked, and we code on this kind of in this boring way, and they, you know, did everything like according to the system that is, you know, really old and not really working. And you know, to get back into you, I think, yeah, it is, especially when, you know, do I like, you know, do I, no, do I don't like the thing, or is it just the way how they taught me it, you know? Because I think in most of the time, like self education on these things and self learning, or like when you taught it yourself, it's really like more of a more enjoyable experience, especially when you're focusing on other things. It is kind of, it's all on you. There's nobody pushing you. There is nobody kind of giving you these exercises. There is nobody making a misery out of it, which is sometimes good, sometimes bad, because there is nobody like pushing you, or you're the only person that keeps you consistent. But you know, it all has its benefits and all of that. So I think it works like that with code in like many ways.
Right. Yeah, because I believe it's another universe. It's a language itself.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a whole new, yeah. So if you get introduced bad to, if you have a bad introduction to it, you won't get how, what the spark of it is, basically. Yeah. That happened.
Yeah, I always like when somebody's talking about code, like it is a lot about like talking about this new world. And I honestly always find it like so interesting when I saw this, you know, pictures of code, and there's like all of these, you know, it looks like magic if you like really think about it. And I was so impressed by it. And of course, when you start, you're again at this, I call it like this idea of beginner hell, that you know, you have one line that kind of works, and it's not really that impressive, but you need to go through that hard stage to get into, you know, this deep stuff and all of that, you know.
Yeah, I haven't found that yet. I still need to get more into it. What is the, I know you're learning, but what do you think it's the most important thing to in code, the skill or something? It is.
So I just talk from, you know, the things I heard. It's like thinking in code, and how do coders think, more of a what language do you learn, and you know, all of that. Because like coding is really like precise, and you know, all of it. But I think thinking in it and thinking how, you know, do coders think is like the most important skill. What from what I've heard.
All right. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Now I wonder how.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there are many like things where if you want to get into coding, there are many, you know, books, courses, and all of that. I can send you some like videos that helped me get into that if you want to.
Yeah, yeah. Any resources? It's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, I want to get into it because also there's this thing, right? When I look at a graph the other day that not many people use AI like every day. Like I think I saw this image on Substack, and I can get it to you. Um, but it was like 83%, I believe, or something like that, haven't used AI yet, which is crazy because you get into the internet and everyone is using AI. But right, it's like 10% is using it daily, and then we get into more systems thinking, and that is 2 or 3% of the population, which it's still hard to
It's still a
make a
lot.
number out of it. Yeah, it's still a lot, and it's still hard to make a number out of it, right? So the more popular this gets, the most people will start to getting into the internet or maybe into social media. And I've seen that with lots of business that make websites and stuff. And if you learn how to code and you learn how to do that, then it's an opportunity. You have an insane amount of people that don't use AI. I think it's a great opportunity to start. That's what I wanted to know. That, yeah. Aside from all this content itself, I think it's just a good tool to have. Yeah.
And you were talking about like you were making a website, I think, with Cloud Code. Like, for what was that website? It was
A
just an
landing page.
experiment, or what?
Landing page.
Oh, yes, landing page. Sorry.
Yeah. No, no, I didn't mention it, but yeah, a landing page.
Yeah, and for what was it? Like, was it just an experiment or client?
I'm trying to make a YouTube mentory thing. I need to get my resources up, and then I will start getting more into that. Yeah, because I find it interesting just to maybe help other people start their YouTube journey and maybe change their minds about some things that they see online and they maybe don't enjoy it that much suddenly, and that kind of stuff. Yeah, or maybe learning every aspect of it. Maybe the editing, maybe scripting, maybe packaging. I believe packaging is really important, and most people don't get it. So I found lots of people who got really good information. Like they have titles, they went to university for lots of time. They then jump into YouTube and they make a video, and because of the packaging, they don't get traction. Maybe I saw this a lot. Maybe they look into Google and type, I don't know how they found these images, but those thumbnails when it's a stock footage of a man in a suit, like looking to the camera smiling, like that's the thumbnail. They grab it from Google and they put it into the thumbnail, and that's like, yeah, they are not familiarized with the elements of a YouTube video of the packaging of the thumbnail, or maybe how to edit an image. Nowadays it's not that complicated, and there's a lot of resources there. So I think people just get scared from everything that's out there. But if you have someone for them to guide them and to say, all right, this is what works, this is what doesn't work, I'm gonna teach you what it works, and these tools are the best. You don't need 90% of what you see here. You only need this. Then it gets more easier, and then it's up to them to go and have their YouTube journey. That was my idea. That's what I see. Information knows everything we talk about here. I believe it could be applied to every aspect of YouTube.
Honestly,
Because there's lots of bias. Yeah.
And especially like packaging, I think it's like you didn't think of it because just a thumbnail, just a title that can't make a much of a difference. But when I look deep into that and deep into the graphs, like as we said, like Mr. Beast, like he is like trying so many thumbnails at once, and it is like open mouth or closed mouth and all of that can make so much like impact or so much difference when you have this word but this word highlighted or this word, and it can be like 20-30% of the viewer's time, like of the like who clicks on the video. And I think it was so interesting, and it gets back into that you need to play according to the rules, because even when you have a killer video, but if you kind of package it in the like wrong way, it will just flop. And especially like there's a saying I heard, like don't judge a book by its cover, but we definitely do judge a book by their covers. It is just a human thing. It is how we work.
It's in our nature.
Yeah,
We can escape that. I agree. Yeah, absolutely. Also, if you think about it, packaging gets overlooked because it doesn't get considered as an element for the viewer to prepare what's seeing, right? Because when a viewer interacts with your content, first it sees the thumbnail, the title, then the intro, then the rest of the video, the script and everything, the information, right? So why we make that first, the content first, we have the intro, and then we do the thumbnail, right? In some cases, it's better to start with the thumbnail and with an idea to see if you have a convincing title or thumbnail or idea to make the viewer click. Then you elaborate with what the viewers knows about the thumbnail, what information the thumbnail has or the title has into the intro. Then you hook them. Then you explain. Right? It's something so simple to something too simple. And I'm just changing the order of how I do things. Could get to more results, and some people don't notice that, for example. So that's helpful. Most of the time, it's simple advice, but that simple advice is just in a sea of trash, basically.
Yeah.
That's my thing with it too. Yeah.
Absolutely, and to get back like full circle moment into Danko, he's like promoting this idea, or many people are promoting this idea. Like when like in the back of the days when they were all of those digital products, all of like even now are just trending. First, market the product to see like if people would wanted it actually, and then just make the product and kind of have a deadline so you don't especially have the like time to think about it a lot and kind of obsess over it.
It's true they do it that way.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the packaging, the thumbnail, the title is the last thing you do. Yeah, well, that's interesting.
Absolutely.
That's interesting.
Okay, we are 2 hours in, and of course we could talk hours and hours on end on this topic, but I think that time is up, and I wanted just to thank you that you were on this podcast. This was a great privilege. This was I think great talk about all of this stuff, and I'm really grateful to have you here, and hope we can do this again someday soon.
Yeah, in the future I'm down to it. Thank you for inviting me, and yeah, I'm so grateful too. We talk a lot. We talk about a lot of things. That different topic. Yeah, I like it a lot. Yeah, so thank you so much.
Okay, and thanks to the viewers too. Thanks for going through the end, and see you at the next one. Okay.